On the 31st of March 1970, an intriguing chapter unfolded in aviation history with the hijacking of Japan Airlines Flight 351. This routine passenger flight en route from Tokyo's Haneda Airport to Fukuoka took an unexpected turn when the members of the Red Army faction of the Japanese Communist League orchestrated what is now known as the Yodogo hijacking incident in Japanese lore. The plane departed from Tokyo's Haneda Airport at approximately 7:30 a.m. The flight was en route to Fukuoka, carrying a total of 122 passengers and 7 crew members, making a total of 129 individuals on board. Among the passengers were notable figures such as Shigeaki Yonohara, who was one of the world's longest-serving physicians and educators. The passengers also included Herbert Grill, the director of American Pepsi. Approximately 20 minutes into the flight, a startling turn of events occurred. Takamaro Tamiya, a young passenger, rose from his seat, wielding a katana, and declared his intention to hijack the plane. Subsequently, the group of 9 hijackers revealed their weapons and seized control of the aircraft, holding 129 individuals hostage, including both passengers and crew members. Their audacious demand was to fly the plane to Havana, Cuba, for training with communist military factions. They admired Fidel Castro as a revolutionary leader who had successfully resisted U.S. aggression and established a socialist society. They believed Cuba would offer a safe haven and a base to continue their fight against imperialism. However, their plan faced a harsh reality. The Boeing 727 they were on lacked the fuel capacity for such a long journey, not being designed for trans-Pacific flights. Their Cuba-bound plan crumbled. Undeterred, the hijackers adjusted their strategy, demanding the plane be rerouted to Pyongyang, North Korea, with a pit stop in Fukuoka for refueling. Here is the cockpit recording of the hijackers' intentions from the plane's black box recordings, subtitled in English. According to this recording, the hijackers wanted to carry out a full-scale communist armed uprising in Japan. Well, now we gotta come back to our storyline. Around 9 a.m., the plane landed in Fukuoka, where it was greeted by a crowd of hundreds, including journalists and onlookers, who had never before witnessed a plane hijacking, as this was the first plane hijacking of Japan. The authorities swiftly surrounded the aircraft, preparing for a potential standoff. Tense negotiations unfolded between the authorities and the hijackers, both parties reluctant to compromise, with Tamiya threatening to kill every last passenger on board. After hours of discussions, a deal was finally made. The hijackers agreed to release 23 hostages in exchange for additional fuel, enough to reach Pyongyang, North Korea. Simultaneously, the pilots received a map of the Korean peninsula and a note specifying specific radio frequencies to tune into. The aircraft was fully prepared and set to depart for Pyongyang, taking off at approximately 11:45 a.m. After a lengthy flight of 1 hour and 45 minutes, around 1:30 p.m., The plane landed in Pyongyang. Upon arrival, a man with a loudspeaker welcomed them, declaring "Welcome to North Korea." The hijackers were happy to see army officials dressed in communist uniforms and a crowd of spectators holding signs of welcome. Their excitement was acceptable as they had finally reached North Korea. They had arrived in the North Korean regime, aiming to receive communist training for their revolution in Japan. Everything seemed to be falling into place, appearing nearly perfect as per their plan. However, unbeknownst to them, they were being deceived all along. Contrary to their belief, they were not in North Korea, but in its non-communist, non-dictatorial southern neighbor. Yes, they were in fact in South Korea. Little did they know, they were being tricked by the Japanese and the South Korean officials the entire time. For us to understand what was happening, we have to rewind a bit. A few hours earlier, the Japanese and the South Korean authorities reached a decision. They couldn't risk landing the plane in North Korea due to the threat it posed on both the passengers and the hijackers. Instead, they opted to land the plane at Seoul's Gimpo International Airport, where they planned to lure the hijackers out and arrest them. For this plan to succeed, it was crucial to portray Gimpo Airport as the North Korean International Airport. In a short span of time, South Korean authorities did what they could to transform the airport's appearance. North Korean flags were strategically placed. Soldiers wore the North Korean military uniforms, and South Korean, as well as other foreign planes, were discreetly moved out of sight. The hijackers sensed that something was off, although accounts vary regarding what raised their suspicions. Some claim it was the sight of the numerous skyscrapers in Pyongyang, which contradicted their perception of underdevelopment in North Korea. They hadn't expected to see such tall buildings. Alternatively, others suggest that the hijackers noticed an American airliner at the airport, spotted American cars, or even encountered a black soldier, all indicating that they were not in North Korea. Regardless, the scheme proved unsuccessful. The hijackers, along with 100 hostages, remained inside the aircraft. The hijackers demanded an immediate departure for North Korea, threatening to harm passengers if their request was not granted. Tensions were escalating. Neither side was willing to cooperate. The hijackers persisted in pressuring to be allowed to travel to North Korea. However, South Korean officials were adamant about not letting the plane depart Gimpo with the hostages. They insisted on the release of all hostages first, expressing distrust towards the North Koreans. The conditions on board deteriorated rapidly. The electricity was cut, the toilets became inoperative, and an unpleasant odor filled the air. The hijackers feared a potential standoff if security forces stormed the plane. Following intense negotiations, an unexpected resolution was reached. The hijackers agreed to release the passengers, ensuring their safety. In a courageous move, the Japanese Vice Minister for Transport, Yamamura Shinjiro, volunteered to become a replacement hostage and fly to Pyongyang as part of the agreement. The plane was refueled and prepared for departure to Pyongyang around 6:30 p.m. It took off from Seoul, bound directly for North Korea, a destination they had originally avoided. After nearly an hour, the plane touched down in Pyongyang at approximately 7:30 p.m. The crew had faced numerous challenges. They lacked local maps, and communication with Pyongyang did not function as intended. Nightfall was imminent. The captain, a seasoned pilot with wartime experience, managed to land on a small airstrip near Pyongyang using visual cues before darkness fell. After the plane had landed in Pyongyang, the passengers and crew were taken into custody by the North Korean authorities. They were held captive for an extended period, enduring uncertain conditions. Eventually, after diplomatic negotiations and international pressure, the North Korean government released the passengers and crew members. On the 3rd of April, the plane was then returned to South Korea, marking the end of the ordeal and the resolution of the Yodogo incident. After the hijackers landed in North Korea, they were initially treated as heroes and provided asylum by the North Korean government. However, their fate remains largely unknown. It is believed that some of them continued to live in North Korea, while others might have faced internal consequences or disappeared under mysterious circumstances. The exact details of their fate remains a mystery, and their current whereabouts are unknown. Certain events shape the course of history and redefine our approach to safety and security. The Yodogo incident, while harrowing, played a pivotal role in enhancing airport safety measures. This incident served as a stark reminder of the need for robust security protocols, prompting airports worldwide to strengthen their defenses, ensuring the safety of travelers remains paramount. As we reflect on this incident, let it serve as a testament to our collective commitment to creating safer skies for all. Well, after this incident, many years later, a big incident is about to happen. The incident, or should I say, 9/11.